I am not a historian, but neither are you. So, how about we, the people, learn this stuff together? Welcome to US 101. Happy New Year, everybody. We've only got a couple more weeks to go until the inauguration of Donald J. Trump. I'm okay. We'll be fine. But with only a few more weeks to go until the inauguration, there has been quite a bit of discussion swirling around his upcoming presidency. One of those topics has been his cabinet appointments. There has been an almost microscopic focus as to who Trump is surrounding himself with to help him make the decisions to run the country. The cabinet, which is comprised of the vice president and 15 executive members, is there to keep the president updated on the state of the nation. Everything from foreign policy to homeland security to education is overseen by these members. But when was the first presidential cabinet actually formed? And for that matter, what departments are actually run by these cabinet members? And for that matter, why is it even called a cabinet in the first place? Now, while the word cabinet isn't in the Constitution, the Founding Fathers did place the idea of a group of people to advise the president in the document. Article 2, Section 2, Clause 1 states, "He may require the opinion in writing of the principal officer in each of the executive departments upon any subject relating to the duties of their respective offices." As to how somebody becomes a member of the cabinet, the president basically looks at them, points, and goes, "You, I nominate you to head this department." And then they're either confirmed or rejected by a simple majority of the Senate. So who made up this very first presidential cabinet? Well, it was basically a veritable who's who of founding fathers and revolutionary figures, the best of the best, the creme de la creme. Some might even say an A-team? In 1787, George Washington assembled a crack unit of the finest minds in the new United States. Soldiers and statesmen, they're revered as the nation's founding fathers. If there was a problem, if no one else could help, and if you could set up an appointment, maybe you could meet the cabinet. Made an A-team reference on this show, and I'm not even 10 episodes deep. Up top, me. That's what I'm talking about. The first cabinet comprised of Vice President John Adams, Secretary of State Thomas Jefferson, Secretary of the Treasury Alexander Hamilton, Secretary of War Henry Knox, and Attorney General Edmund Randolph. Also, I would like to point out that as cool as it would be, the cabinet meetings back in the day, while contentious, weren't actually rap battles. Sorry, Hamilton fans. Now, I'd guess that we're all relatively familiar, right, with the titles that each cabinet member has, but do you know what those titles actually mean? I mean, do you know what each secretary does in their position? First up, you've got the top job, man, which is Secretary of State, currently held by John Kerry in the Obama administration. Secretary of State's job is to handle America's foreign affairs, including high-level negotiations with foreign countries and advising the president on matters relating to U.S. foreign policy. Then you've got the Secretary of the Treasury, who is in charge of the nation's financial and monetary issues. Then you've got the Secretary of Defense, who is the head of the Defense Department and is second only to the president when it comes to matters of national defense. And actually, this position used to be called the Secretary of War, as we recently covered with Henry Knox being called Secretary of War, but that position was changed to Secretary of Defense in 1947. Although Secretary of War sounds a little more badass, doesn't it? And the final position of the big four of the cabinet, Attorney General, aka Top Cop. Why Top Cop? Because they are the nation's chief law enforcement officer, and they also serve as the main lawyer for the United States government. Fun fact about the Attorney General, they're the only member of the cabinet that doesn't get the title of secretary. But what about those 11 other cabinet positions that people tend to forget from time to time because they might not hear about them in the news as much? Let's blaze through those real quick because they deserve their due as well. You've got the Secretary of the Interior, which deals with federal land and natural resources, and this position was actually created in 1849. Then you've got the Secretary of Agriculture, who oversees forests, grassland, and makes sure that food that's made in the U.S. is safe to eat, and this position was created in 1889. You've got the Secretary of Commerce, whose job is to promote American business and industries, and this position was created in 1913. You've got the Secretary of Labor, who promotes the welfare of workers, job seekers, and retirees, improves working conditions, and assures the rights and benefits of workers, and this position was also created in 1913. The Secretary of Human and Health Services deals with the job is pretty much in the name: Human and Health Services and Issues. And this position was created in 1979, but back in the day, it was known as the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare. You've got the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, who deals with home ownership, increasing access to affordable homes without any type of discrimination, and community development. This position was created in 1965. The Secretary of Transportation develops policies to create efficient, economical, and environmentally safe national transportation systems, and this position was created in 1966. The Secretary of Energy is responsible for addressing the country's energy, environmental, and nuclear issues through technology and science, and this position was created in 1977. The Secretary of Education advises the President on policies, programs, and activities related to education, and this position was created in 1979. The Secretary of Veterans Affairs deals with veterans' benefits, health issues, and national monuments and cemeteries, and this position was created in 1989. And finally, the Secretary of Homeland Security deals with protecting the United States and its citizens, and this position was created in 2003. And finally, the question that's been burning on your mind: why is it called a cabinet? I will tell you. The word comes from the French word cabine, which means hut or small room or private room. This private room or cabinet would be where high-ranking officials, executives, ministers would meet and discuss business. Although the idea of, anthropomorphic cabinets all meeting in a room together with, mouths for drawers, and their drawer knobs would be the eyes, and they're all sitting there just talking and meeting each other is hilarious to me. I have too much time on my hands. And that is it for this episode of US 101, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. Really do appreciate it. And again, for all of you that have subscribed to the channel, thank you so much for your support. And for those of you that haven't subscribed, hopefully you will. If you're a fan of US history, if you're a fan of learning stuff, I'm a fan of talking to you about this stuff. I love it. And we do new episodes of US 101 every single Tuesday, so I will see you next Tuesday. Until then, we are all done. Have a great week. I'm exiting to the left. You're right. Goodbye. Let's do this thing.